All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here on Real Estate Pros on Lister Pros TV with my man, Danny Perkinson.
Well,
and
hello.
today we're going to be talking about a few different things, but in particular, we want to talk about single-family home acquisitions for large institutions. But first, introduce yourself. What's your background? How long you been a real estate agent? What's your background look like?
Wait, hold
For
on.
those that don't know
Hold
who
on
you
just
are.
a second,
Hey,
dude.
man.
Dude, first of all, we got to loosen this up a little bit, dude. Wait a minute. Jordan Nielsen throwing down this video live. This is the first time I've ever been live on Instagram, first of all. So kudos. Thank you for bringing it.
Yeah.
Bringing it home.
Bringing it up.
And we go way back. And it's great to see you coming as far as you've come. So kudos to you.
Thank you, Danny.
First of all. And thank you for having me on your show. So, a little bit about me. Let's see, I've been licensed since 2008. Graduated from BYU Construction Management Program 2007. And got my real estate license soon thereafter. Played a lot in the traditional resale game from 08, 9, 10. Kind of survived during the downturn. Did a lot of short sales and kind of learned the business back in the grind. And then got my broker's license 2010 and 2011. Got my broker's license, and then started working with more of the institutional investors in end of 2012 into 2013, and took a little bit of a detour back into the resale game from 2013, 14, 15. Started Treehouse Realty, and learned a lot of good lessons during those days, and now back working in the investor space with Colony Starwood. So I've been doing that for about 9 months, and we've got a little acquisitions platform that we're sourcing quite a few deals to them. They're in heavy acquisition mode again, and that's a little bit about.
So
my background.
what? All right, thanks for the intro, Danny P. So
No problem.
So you've been a real estate agent for a long time. Me and Danny go back to high school. We became friends. I moved here from Texas in my senior year, and Danny was one of those guys that I kind of clicked with, and we did a couple snowboarding trips back in the day. But
let's not talk too much about those. But I do remember the first time I met Jordan Nielsen was bagging groceries.
Yes, Albertsons. See, I
Albertsons,
was trying to figure out, like, how did I meet Danny?
Hey, I know you, dude. How do I know you, bro? Oh, we go to high school together. Oh, nice. Wait, you're bagging groceries at Albertsons. That's bomb. You want to go snowboarding?
Dude, yes,
right?
You invited me right there.
Literally right there on the spot.
I
Like,
was
hey,
like
we're going
cashier,
snowboarding this
yeah.
weekend. Let's do this. And you're like, okay, cool. Let's go.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
Dude,
Kind of like
that's how it is today. Even
kind of like the Mexico
let's
trip,
go to
dude.
Mexico. This is like the night before. I'm like, I don't think this is gonna fly with my wife.
I don't roll like this, dude. I don't fly by the seat of my pants like you. But guess what? You made it happen.
See, my wife accuses me of being so last minute, not pre-planning stuff. But Danny is another level.
Totally take it to another level. Yeah, I do. My wife would definitely vouch for that, for sure. However, I have stepped up my game quite a bit.
So we'll talk a little bit about you're interesting character because you're pretty much the only person that was able to twist my arm enough to to leave corporate America.
Yes.
I was
Bro,
tough.
I know.
Well, because
You're
I was
tough sale, dude. You are a tough sale, bro. That's all I have to say. For a salesman, you're a really tough sale.
Yeah, well,
but I won you over.
You won me over, but my wife, I had my wife, I had 3 kids at the time. Actually, I had 3 kids at the time. I was the only breadwinner, and I was like, man, I can't leave this place because you got that steady 70, 80, whatever it was a year.
Yep.
And then leave to do craziness with Invitation Homes. So this kind of starts in to our conversation when we're talking about acquisitions for large institutions. So that's initially why I left Wells Fargo and then corporate America was to help you to purchase homes for a large institution.
Can I give you a shout out?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I must have every one of you know that Jordan Nielsen was working full-time as a branch manager at Wells Fargo. I had 5 agents. This was back in the day before I had anything automated. It was 100% manual pull of MLS, underwrite, and then there was a back-end process where, do you remember that, dude? We marked them green and red and whatever. Yep. The ones that were written in green, thank you, James LeSweer, if you're watching this, would underwrite them, and then we had you and 4 other agents that would take them and generate offers. So out of the 5 agents, you were working full-time at Wells Fargo and nights and weekends, and we're out-producing those guys times 2. And that's when I knew that I was like, dude, Jordan Nielsen, you are wasting your time here at the bank, my friend. Get on board with me. And you drug your feet like 3 months too long.
Man, I was waiting for that annual bonus, and I remember that was long, man.
It was. And because you drug your feet that long, it started dying down right after you jumped on board with us. But we still had a good little run. And then we decided, all right, let's go jump into resale, and this is where Lister Pros.
Well, this is where I started, but also part of the transition into Lister Pros was I had to bridge the gap. Obviously, I couldn't start a company and then be living on that immediately full time. So you helped bridge that gap. You started Treehouse Realty. I wouldn't say I treated, but I was one of the people that helped with the foundation of it.
Yep.
We set up conversion and all the back-end platforms to help it run smoothly.
Yeah. No, it was interesting how, you started Lister Pros, which we talked about partnering up, dude. Remember we almost partnered up
together. He wanted
to
be my partner. He's like, I'll cut you a check. I'm like, nah, I think I'm going to do this by myself.
Yeah, you did, dude. Good choice.
Because I know I'd be doing like 95% of the work.
It would have been it would have been inequitable, hands down. But it's funny, you started that, and I started Treehouse right at the same time, and we both kind of supported each other, but went our different paths. But one of the things I remember bridging the gap, remember when I bought that garbage house with all that crap in it? And I'm like, dude, Jordan, I got so much crap in this house. You Craigslist everything, and we'll split the profits, whatever it is. And we made like, I don't know, $4,000 or something, cash money.
Did.
Split it 2 ways.
Motorcycle, there's a bunch of stuff. Tools.
A bunch of tools. And that was fun. It was good times. We scrapped and scrounged. Talk about scrapping and scrounges. Those were some scrappy days.
Yeah, it was.
Super scrappy days.
But, as time goes on, then, not necessarily that things were bad right there, but then just the other things start to pick up, So I see you once every 6 months now whenever you invite me to do some crazy last-minute trip, man.
That's lame that it's once every 6 months.
No, I know. It should be more. Actually, but we should go anyways. We're getting way off topic.
Yeah, all right.
We'll talk about this off. But when it comes to buying single property, so what I wanted to ask you was, it was like this back in 2013 when we were buying for Invitation Homes. Like, what are these large institutions seeing right now? A lot of people think that we're kind of in a bubble, in a real estate bubble, or are they seeing continual growth, or are they just looking at rents? They don't really care what the value is, or what's their strategy? Because if back in 2013, then prices were going up, and then they started to fade away. Oh, they're not meeting our margins. We want more. But then prices just continue to go back up, and then a couple years later, as prices are high, they're like, oh, we want to get back in the game of buying houses. That's probably my thing that I don't understand 100%.
Yeah. Well, you got to understand.
What are they seeing?
So you got to understand these companies they're publicly traded companies, right? So they're very driven off of the public markets. And so back in 2012, obviously there was a much bigger spread in their yield, right? But as they have kind of stabilized over the last couple of years, they've sold off some of the assets that they initially acquired, maybe in areas that weren't, as good as others, or weren't performing as well, or whatever. So because of the run in the prices, they've sold those off, and they have equity laying around that they have to redeploy. They can't just sit on cash. They have to be constantly working it. So that's one of the major reasons.
So are they thinking that real estate's a better bet than the stock market at this point in time? Because obviously that's been run up, and they just don't want idle money. They'd rather what are they saying?
That's their whole business model. The stock market is they have stockholders, and they have to deploy it into this new asset class that has been created in the single family residential rental space. And so they're being much more selective in where they're buying. They're buying in newer, nicer, cleaner areas with school scores that are high, better renters. And, they're banking on the fact what's happened is because of the downturn, it has created a demand for rentals like never before. The whole concept and mind frame that America has, the dream of owning a home, that's still there. It's never going to go away. However, there's a lot more people, two demographic classes in the millennials and also in the baby boomers, that they're just kind of on the baby boomer side. They're just done with home ownership. They're done with changing out faucets and toilets, and they've got enough cash sitting around there. They don't want to worry about dealing with all that stuff. They'd rather take the cash, go rent somewhere, and have more cash in their home. So you have that demographic, and then you've got the millennials that they're kind of slow to do anything as it relates to really getting out there and buying a house and whatever else. They're enjoying living in their apartment or whatever.
It seems like, as time goes on, I don't know what's going to hold for the future of real estate, because it does seem like the millennials they'll value, let's say, organic foods and some whatever, and then
they don't need a big house. They
would rather be free roamers. You see the emergence of these tiny houses, these kind of things, and
the emphasis of owning real estate, and a lot of it as it relates to your personal residence, is becoming less of a priority. And so because of that, there's higher rent demand, and therefore so that's a long roundabout way to answer your question. The reason why they're continually buying is because rent demand is strong. Rents are still growing.
Do you know if any of these large institutions are getting into the Airbnb, VRBO model for their houses, or are they just looking for long-term renters?
Yeah, these particularly Colony Starwood and the groups that I've been working with in the past have not, to my knowledge. There might be some other groups out there that's kind of their main business plan, but no, most of the big institutional REITs, they're sticking to single family, bread and butter type homes. So nothing on the VRBO side of things.
So the properties that me and you purchased, or us as a team purchased back in 2013, have they sold? What % of those have already been sold off? Are they still holding on to some, or are they just looking to? I don't know the specific. Were they trying to get out of those specific areas and then go into different areas, or what?
Yeah, I don't know I can't speak to Invitation Homes strategy specifically, and I don't really know what they own as to what we bought. I'm not privy to a lot of the info, but I do know that they have redistributed some of the assets that they acquired back in those days, and are buying in newer, nicer, cleaner areas. So I do know that we did acquire quite a few homes for them in the Maryville area, and I know that today they don't buy in those areas.
All right, so let's talk about it. So if obviously when it comes to buying for these large institutions, the hardest part is finding the deal. Out of everything, you got to find the right deals. So that's what we did back in the day. We scoured the MLS, we scoured all over the place, just trying to find the properties that met the numbers in the. If somebody out there is watching, what do they need to look for to find a home that's viable for Colony, who you're buying homes for now, or if somebody was like, hey, I may have a subject property, maybe these guys will buy it. What does that look like?
So they're quote unquote buy box, so to say, is kind of
sure.
what they mostly, and again, this is I can't speak exactly to those specific criteria, but in a general sense, newer, nicer, cleaner areas. A lot of what we end up buying for them are in areas that have better school ratings, better renters, and a lot of them are in the northwest and southeast parts of the valley, but they're kind of scattered all over throughout Phoenix. But that's kind of just overall just a little bit more of a newer, nicer, cleaner product is what they're looking for. But if there's people out there, investors out there that are, or even homeowners out there that are curious to know, hey, would this fit, their buy box? we would love to take a look at it and underwrite it, analyze it, be specific with, their criteria that they've given us, and we can give you a quick turnaround, 24 hours, get you a cash offer, and you can decide from there whether or not it makes sense. So I think in your neighborhood that you live in, one of our guys actually
yes,
called you, right?
they called me, they texted me
Yep.
like, we want to buy your home direct.
Mm-hmm.
So in a world like 2017 where you have a bunch of different investor options, what are the challenges that you're seeing out there when you're buying the houses? Back in 2013 there was so much inventory on the market. Now you have OfferPad, Open Door. I think Zillow's coming out with one that's called Instant Offers. There's so many different products out there. Or a lot of are you finding that it's tougher to find deals, or is there so many options, or is it different model? Everybody has different models.
It's definitely tougher to find deals than it was back in 2013 when there was just an oversupply of them. And so we have to be strategic in how we go about it, and we have our own internal kind of proprietary platforms that we've created on the acquisitions front to be competitive with all those companies that you just listed, Open Door, OfferPad. And it's really it's all about the hustle and the grind and the numbers, that's obviously there's some strategy to it as well, but they're definitely not a ton of short sales or bank owns or trustee sale. Like all the days of the distressed properties have dwindled greatly. So we do have to get a little bit more creative on.
So we don't want you to tell us all your secrets, Danny, but where are you finding the homes? Because how many are you finding for them on average per month right now? It's got to be a decent amount.
Somewhere around 25, 30 a month.
25,
specifically
30.
For Colony, but then we also have, we have other buyers that we work with, more like one-off buyers that don't, that buy properties that don't fit Colony's box, in older areas or older product or whatever, so that we have between both of those somewhere around 35 to 40 a month that we're doing between Colony and some of the other buyers. So where, to answer your question, where do we find them?
Yes.
Okay. We do have.
So is it all about the hustle? You just gotta get in touch with people.
Yes,
that's part of it.
But we also have one of my partners, Steve Peterson, wrote a software platform that's an MLS scraper that allows us to be super efficient. Be first. I mean, it's all about being first in the door and building relationships with these listing agents. So that's specific to MLS. So about half of the deals that we buy for Colony, we buy them direct from MLS, and so we're actively building relationships with listing agents.
So what percent are off the MLS?
About half.
Half.
About 50.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the other 50 comes through wholesale channels. Another one of my partners, Elaine Peterson, is a Homevestors franchisee.
So we buy ugly houses.
We buy ugly houses. Yeah, and so we use that network that's been created. And then the network that was created from when we were buying, I've got quite a few wholesalers that we did a lot of business with that, we actively reach out to and market and hopefully get first looks at every deal that comes through the door and hope that as many of them stick as possible.
So no secrets, Danny P. You're saying you just got to work hard on the MLS, scrub it, and then network with people that, maybe in the wholesale game. I think real estate agents get a bunch of emails that, you can buy this home. This is a wholesale deal, but it's probably even getting before that, the source of that to be able to make it work with Colony. So
yeah, I mean, again, the secrets are, a lot of it is hustle and grind and the proprietary software platform that we've got, which is really, really helpful. But then we have a really solid squad of people that are behind us, and they get out and hustle.
So this has been very informative, just to see what the what the current status of home acquisitions are for these large institutions. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you and maybe they have a potential property that they want to see what you guys could offer for them, how do they go about getting a hold of you guys?
I mean, right now, we're actually in the process, and we've had like a data input form that we've used in the past, but we're in the process of retooling that. But best right now way to contact would be to send me an email to direct Danny@PerkinsonProperties.com, and I'll get it to the right channel. And then they'll be, if it's a Colony property, they'll be hearing back from Stephen Alphin in our office. And if it's more of a wholesale, doesn't fit Colony's box, they'll hear back from Joe Peterson. So, but come direct to me, and I'll get them plugged in with.
So email Danny@PerkinsonProperties.com.
Danny@PerkinsonProperties.com, or you can shoot me a text.
Or if there's a real estate agent out there that is interested in this, and maybe you're hiring on your team, it would be the same thing. That you just reach out.
Yeah, just reach out to me direct, and you can text me 480-247-0907, or instant message me on Facebook. Any one of those ways, reach out to me, and I'll get them plugged into the right channel wherever it fits best.
Sweet. Well, I was gonna throw them off. Anything else you wanted to add to the interview today? We got to have you back on. I think you bring a lot of insight from the real estate game. You have a lot of. You never were big on the accolades and stuff like that, which is on the real estate. It's like ingrained in the ego, the real estate culture, if you will. You've been 30 under 30 or 40 under 40 or whatever it is, and all these different things. You always seem to
which is down. The best part about that whole thing is I'm not even a member of Severar anymore, dude.
No.
Yes. So I am completely out of that whole game, which whatever, that's fine, that's great. But my license actually isn't hung at a brokerage that is at Severar. So Perkinson Properties is with Severar, but I also play in the commercial space as well, and that's where my license is held. So yeah, to your point on the whole.
So we could have you back on talking about commercial, and I know you do storage deals, so we won't go into specifics today, but I think that's an interesting business model as well. So thanks for being on the show today, Danny P. We appreciate you stopping by the studio.
Thanks for having me
on this episode
of
Real Estate Pros, and so we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thanks.